Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob. Yes, welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, where you know the drill by now. You send in your questions and we do our very best to answer them for you. Today, as ever, you have not disappointed. We've got two great questions that have come in. But before we have a listen to those, let's have a recap of how you can send in a question of your own. Yep, dead easy. All you need to do is give us a call, 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. And you can leave us a voicemail there. Or alternatively, you can go over to thepropertyhub.net/ask and send us a message there instead. Okay, so our first question today comes in from Cameron. Let's have a listen.
Well, hi, Rob and Rob. It's Cameron here. My question concerns buying a property through a limited company, in particular buying a property at auction. As far as I can see, getting a mortgage for a limited company purchase can, in some cases, take some considerable time, running into weeks, if not longer. But when buying a property at an auction, there's typically a 4-week settlement period between agreeing to purchase and settling the deal with funds at the auction house. I wondered, therefore, if it's best to simply steer clear of buying at auction through a limited company if mortgage finance is needed. Or alternatively, do you have any other bright ideas or thoughts on this one? Many thanks in advance, and thanks again so much for all the great information and knowledge on the podcast. Thanks, bye.
All right, Cameron, as you've rightly identified, getting a buy-to-let mortgage for a limited company can be a real test of patience. It can take a ridiculously long time sometimes. But it can go that way for individuals as well. If you can get a personal mortgage through in a couple of months, then you're doing pretty well. And I know people do sometimes buy at auction with a mortgage, but I would personally be very, very nervous about doing that, because unless you get a very quick offer, a very quick valuation, the searches come back quickly and there are no questions or concerns along the way, there's every chance that it's going to take you longer than the 28 days or so that you're going to have as an auction purchase. So what can you do instead? Well, only two things really. You can ideally buy with cash, or you can use bridging finance. Then whichever of those you use, wait 6 months, sometimes you can get away with it quicker, and then go on to a buy-to-let mortgage from there. Now that means either you're incurring extra costs or you're tying up your cash, but if the deal is strong enough, and if you're buying at auction, it should be pretty strong, then it's going to be worth doing. Like I say, if you're using a personal mortgage, you could take the risk, hope you get lucky and deal with the consequences if you don't, but for a company, it's just going to take too long. So save yourself some stress, have a plan for getting the property secured, and give yourself a bit of time to sort the mortgage out later.
Okay, great answer, Rob. Next up, we've got John from the wonderful Wirral.
Hi, Rob and Rob. It's John from the Wirral. I've listened to the podcast for a long time. Really appreciate the work that you guys do. I've just got a question about mortgages. I'm a first-time potential buyer looking at buying my first investment property on a residential mortgage and then looking to refinance onto a buy-to-let mortgage after 6 months. I was just wondering what the feasibility of that is if you are a first-time buyer. I know that for buy-to-let usually you need to be deemed as a professional landlord, apart from with certain lenders. But I was just wondering what the procedure would be for that and whether a lender will offer a buy-to-let mortgage if you've only had a short residential mortgage before. If you can give me some help on that, that would be really appreciated. Thanks.
Thanks for your question, John. It really depends on what you're trying to do. But ultimately, if you buy with a residential mortgage and then look to swap out to a buy-to-let mortgage a few months later, you're going to annoy the lenders. Now, you may want to do this because you may want to put a smaller deposit in, with it being a residential mortgage. But then buy-to-let mortgages, when you refinance, unless there's been a huge amount of capital growth, you're not going to be able to refinance it to a buy-to-let anyway, because typically you have to put down a bigger deposit. Or it may be that you're thinking you may struggle to get a buy-to-let mortgage from the get-go. Well, actually, while you may be limited, there still are options out there for people who don't currently own a property who want to get into buy-to-let. A good mortgage broker will be able to guide you through that. So go and speak to one. If your current mortgage broker can't find your solution, go and speak to another one, because I've seen this done multiple times. So there are lenders and options out there. And if your concern is the latter, then I would go down that route rather than going down the route you've suggested, because that's a little bit messy.
All right, so 2 more questions answered for Cameron and John today. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you'll join us again for the Property Podcast on Thursday. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.